Savage Blade. Seek the light in darkness. Savage Blade. Seek the light in darkness.
Vivid footage of the battles near Pokrovsk. The bastards are massively burning NATO equipment, infantry and artillery of the enemy. A selection of the combat work of the fighters of the Center Group of Forces on the destruction of military equipment, weapons, infantry and positions of the armed forces of Ukraine during active hostilities in the Pokrovsky direction. The footage shows tanks, NATO armored fighting vehicles, firing points, infantry, positions and enemy vehicles being burned. In one episode, the commandos set up an ambush on the road. A drone in the middle of the highway waited for an approaching enemy car and with one powerful blow burned down all the militants inside. Special forces soldiers also deliver precise strikes against the fortifications of the Ukrainian Nazis in the border area. Fighting on the Zaporizhzhia front, Shaman defeats the enemy in the area of Orkhov. The drone operators of the Shaman unit of the 1455th Regiment destroyed the control points of enemy drones, and then tracked the fleeing Ukrainian militants to their temporary deployment point in the town of Orkhov and struck there. By Russian Defense Ministry on progress of special military operation. The armed forces of the Russian Federation carried out 7 group strikes with high-precision weapons and drones, in the course of which they hit defense industry enterprises, Ukrainian military airbases, depots storing Sapsan operational tactical missiles, and a fuel depot supplying fuel to the armed forces of Ukraine. In addition, strikes were delivered at the Neptune missile system, command posts, assembly areas and takeoff sites for long-range unmanned aerial vehicles, and temporary deployment areas of Ukrainian armed forces, nationalists, and foreign mercenaries. During the week, units of the Sever Group of Forces inflicted losses on manpower and hardware of 1 tank brigade, 2 mechanized brigades, 3 air assault brigades, 1 motorized infantry brigade, 1 Jaeger brigade, 1 assault brigade, 2 assault regiments of the armed forces of Ukraine, and 1 territorial defense brigade in Sumy region. In Kharkov region, strikes were delivered at formations of 1 mechanized brigade, 1 motorized infantry brigade of the AFU, 1 territorial defense brigade, and a border guard detachment. Over the past week, the AFU sustained losses of more than 1,190 troops, 22 armored fighting vehicles, and 64 motor vehicles in the area of responsibility of the Sever Group of Forces. 27 field artillery guns were neutralized, including 4 NATO-made guns, 46 ammunition, fuel, and material depots. The Zapad Group's units have liberated Srednaya of the Donetsk People's Republic. They inflicted fire damage on units of 2 mechanized brigades, 2 assault brigades of the armed forces of Ukraine, and 2 territorial defense brigades. The enemy has lost more than 1,580 troops, 3 tanks, and 35 armored fighting vehicles, including 15 NATO-made armored vehicles. Moreover, 114 motor vehicles, 13 field artillery guns, including 7 Western-made guns, 37 electronic warfare stations, and 28 ammunition depots have been neutralized. Units of the YIG group of forces advanced to the depths of the enemy's defense and liberated the settlements of Kleban-Byk and Nelipovka, Donetsk People's Republic. They inflicted losses on manpower and hardware of 6 mechanized brigades, 1 airmobile brigade, 1 mountain assault brigade, 1 assault brigade of the armed forces of Ukraine, 1 marine brigade, and 1 territorial defense brigade. Over the past week, Ukrainian armed formations have lost more than 1,345 troops, 2 tanks, and 14 armored fighting vehicles, including 2 Western-made armored vehicles, in this direction. 26 motor vehicles, 6 field artillery guns, 2 electronic warfare stations, and 22 ammunition and material depots were neutralized. The Tsender Group's units continued offensive operations on the territory of the Donetsk People's Republic in Dnepropetrovsk region. Russian troops liberated Filia, Dnepropetrovsk region, and Pervoy-Maya, Donetsk People's Republic. Losses were inflicted on 5 mechanized brigades, 1 infantry brigade, 1 Jaeger brigade, 3 air assault brigades, 2 assault brigades, 2 assault regiments of the armed forces of Ukraine, 2 marine brigades, 1 territorial defense brigade, and 3 National Guard brigades. The enemy lost up to 2,735 troops, 1 German-made Leopard tank, and 34 armored fighting vehicles, including 11 NATO-made armored vehicles, 59 motor vehicles, and 13 field artillery guns. Over the past week, units of the Vostok group of forces liberated Zaporozhye, Dnepropetrovsk region, as a result of active and resolute actions. They also hit manpower and hardware of 3 mechanized brigades, 1 assault brigade, 1 assault regiment of the armed forces of Ukraine, 1 marine brigade, and 2 territorial defense brigades. The enemy losses in this direction amounted to more than 1,570 troops, 21 armored fighting vehicles, 62 motor vehicles, 15 field artillery guns, including 5 NATO-made troops, and 5 ammunition and material depots. Units of the Dnepr group of forces inflicted losses on units of 1 mechanized brigade, 1 mountain assault brigade, 2 coastal defense brigades of the armed forces of Ukraine, and 2 territorial defense brigades. The enemy lost more than 430 troops, 3 foreign-made armored fighting vehicles, 75 motor vehicles, and 10 field artillery guns. 52 electronic warfare stations, 23 depots storing ammunition, fuel, and material have been neutralized. Using a high-speed uncrewed boat, the Ukrainian Navy's medium reconnaissance ship Simferopol was destroyed at the mouth of the river Danube. Over the past week, Russian air defense systems have shot down 1 Su-27 aircraft of the Ukrainian Air Force, 18 guided aerial bombs, 9 US-made HIMARS MLRS projectiles, 1 Neptune long-range missile, and 1,377 fixed-wing unmanned aerial vehicles. In total, since the beginning of the special military operation, the enemy has lost 666 aircraft, 283 helicopters, 80,367 unmanned aerial vehicles, 625 anti-aircraft missile systems, 24,856 tanks and other armored fighting vehicles, 1,588 MLRS combat vehicles, 29,041 field artillery guns and mortars, 40,622 support military vehicles.